1, 2, 3, go! UnCleated. Jason Bishop, Garrett Gibbs, right here on the Bishop Media Sports Network. Today we're going to be talking top 25, give our picks for next week's game. Garrett has a rant that he's going to go on concerning the targeting rule. I'm basically just going to sit and listen. I might chime in here and there, but man, we were talking about, he's fired up.
I can't wait. I can't wait to unload.
We were talking about it in preparation, and we just had to move on. I was like, man, we gotta move on from that, dude. We got other stuff to talk about. Georgia Florida's coming up. We're gonna get into that, and Garrett also has a story that he's gonna talk. I'm gonna talk some Netflix. I'm gonna talk Netflix a little later. That's what I'm gonna do.
I'll tell you that. I think that's one you could bring up every week.
All right, well, let's go ahead and get into. You know what? Before we do, I do have a funny story. As you know, I help out with a lot of high school stuff around the area, and so I went and broadcasted a high school football game in Savannah for one of our radio partners. And Friday night, it was cold, man.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it was freezing. So I'm in Savannah. I'm not going to name the school. I should. Pissed me off pretty good. I should call them out, but I'm not going to because I'm not that low yet. Yet. So we get to the stadium, and they have 3 rooms in their press box.
Okay.
The rooms are set up for their coaches, their PA folks, and then the far right room. Who would you think would go in there? Maybe
I would think the visiting coaches.
Coaches
be my first guess.
Maybe the visiting broadcast team, i.e.,
Yeah.
Jason Bishop. That would be
Yeah.
Negative, wrong on both accounts. A high school broadcasting class goes in there. So the next question is, well, if the high school broadcasting class is there and then the rest of the press box is taken up, where do the coaches go? Where does the broadcasting team go, right?
Yeah.
And that's pretty...
What did they do? Put y'all on the... I mean, did they put y'all down on the sideline? I mean, what did they do?
Close. On top of the press box.
Wow, yeah, that's right.
They literally have the coaches... They have a fence on top of their a chain link fence, like ghettoed as all get out. Literally a chain link fence on top of their press box. The coaches have their headsets hanging on the fence so that they could use them between halves and stuff. And then on the far other side, that's where they set us up to do the broadcast. They brought us a table and a couple of chairs and said, "And here's an extension cord. Take off." Initially, they wanted us to set up right next to the coaches, literally like 2 feet from the coaches. Now, I don't know if you know too much about high school football, but the last place you want to be doing a broadcast is right next to a bunch of coaches calling plays.
You got that right, because I have seen 1 or 2 in my life, and let's just say it's not a place for children.
Yeah, it's not PG, folks. No. I'm telling you. So we actually had to beg them to move us to the other side of the on top of the press box. And so they set us up a chair. Now, here's the thing. George Rose did the game with me. Now, of course, George Rose is a former NFL player and now, Glenn County Sports Hall of Fame, all that stuff. I love George. George is an older gentleman. I'm not gonna call him out and date him, but to ask an older gentleman to sit there and call a game, granted, it was 43 degrees.
Yeah.
And so I made them bring us a blanket and a space heater. Made them do it. And they wanted to fight me on. And the space heater they brought was no bigger than maybe our laptops.
It was a foot warmer.
Yeah,
that's what they brought.
Essentially, that's what it was. So man, I was hot.
But they did give you a cord, extension cord.
Yeah, fortunately.
They did?
Yeah, we had to beg for it. They had to sign. No kidding. I had to sign out the cord on a sign out sheet. I'm not kidding you.
Well, I'd have still took it home. It's been my souvenir.
Yeah.
For the headache I had.
Insane.
That's crazy how they do stuff like that, as well as the athletic. I say industry. I mean, how far we've come, or they've come, and to have stuff still set up like that. I mean, with all the money that's rolling around out there.
And it wasn't a poor school. That's the thing. Again, it wasn't one of those typical Savannah schools that don't really pay attention to football. This one does.
Right.
And technically it wasn't in Savannah. It was in Springfield.
Yeah.
So if you know what school is in Springfield, you know what I'm talking about. But again, I'm not going to call them out. You had a big weekend too, didn't you?
Yeah, we went to a couple of our buddies. Got married over the weekend, and
A couple of them.
Both of them are friends of ours. So, yeah, it was only one wedding, so the only thing we had a good time. It was a nice setup, and only thing I'm gonna comment on that is I've been married. It'll be 3 years this November.
Seems like it's longer than that.
Yeah, well, we've been together 12.
Yeah.
So I've been married 12 years. I'll go ahead and say that because she'll get offended if I don't include those 9 other years. But let me just say this: anybody out there just planning a wedding, planning on participating in a wedding, I do not envy those people at all, because it is the bride and groom at the end of the day. All they do is get worn out and beat down. To me, it's other than the ceremony itself. Yeah, some of the reception, but they're working pretty much the whole time. I mean, it really is. If you don't have a bunch of money to invest in a wedding planner that does all the footwork for you, it's tough. It's a lot of work.
I wouldn't know anything. One thing I will say that I just thought about. Ladies, listen up. I hope you heard that. Garrett's wife hung around 9 years before they ever even got married. So, just a little side note: don't push us.
That's right. We'll get to it one day.
Yeah,
we'll get to it.
Yeah, she knew how much of a catch Garrett was. She wasn't going anywhere.
I hope she don't listen later on.
We'll both be in trouble.
Well, keep your phone on, man, because I might have to call you for a place to stay now. Okay? That's all I'm gonna say.
Well, let's get into the top 25. This is UnCleated on the Bishop Media Sports Network. Jason Bishop, Garrett Gibbs. Another big Florida, and a couple weeks ago we had a big Florida State game. Here we are a couple weeks later. Number 7 Miami goes to number 2 Florida State. What you got, man?
Well, I mean, the Noles at home, the Canes coming in. The Canes definitely have a lot better team than they've had in previous years. They're on the upswing. They're coming back to prominence, but there's something in the water over in Tallahassee, man. Down and over in Tallahassee, I think that they have got a superb defense, and I think they're too deep for Miami. I think they get it done, and they get it done big late.
I think Florida State is ready. I think that this is going to be their year. They make a serious push. Miami, I feel like maybe a year, 2 years away. They're still a very young football team.
They're still really young. You're right.
Going to Tallahassee, I agree with you. The atmosphere is going to be insane. I don't think they're ready for that. I like Florida State, and I don't even think it's going to be close.
Well, and I'll tell you, I mean, traditionally in this rivalry, I mean, the home field really hasn't played a big factor, really in the outcomes of these games, because, I mean, it wasn't but I don't know, 4 years ago or so that Miami went up to Tallahassee and they beat them in their own house. So I don't think the home field in this particular rivalry really plays a big factor. I think that Florida State simply has a better football team.
Okay. Another big rivalry, Ohio State at Purdue. Not really the ring of Florida State Miami, does it?
No, not quite. Ohio State rolls big in that one. I mean, I don't see any.
Do you think so? Because I'm not. I don't think so. I'm. Here it comes. Here's my upset pick.
Uh-oh.
Purdue takes down the unbeaten Ohio State Buckeyes. Write it down in pen.
No, Saturday when they played Penn State, I thought Penn State might actually have a little something for the Buckeyes, and Ohio State rolled out to a big lead at half. I think it was something like 35-0 at half, and I just think that Purdue don't have the firepower to stay with Ohio State. They just don't.
Yeah, I just think it's going to be a letdown game, but we'll see. You could be right. Tennessee goes to number 10 Missouri. Of course, Missouri coming off the huge loss, at least in the SEC East picture, to South Carolina. What a game that was, that South Carolina-Missouri game. That's one of the craziest games I've ever seen.
That's the thing about Carolina that gets me. They just get beat down by somebody who they shouldn't lose to. They turn around, a couple weeks ago they lose to Tennessee, and then they come out and they beat Missouri. I mean, who would have thought that?
Yeah, and the thing is,
because Carolina's kind of beat up right now.
Yeah, don't forget now, Missouri still has on their schedule the last 2 weeks of their season. They have to go to Ole Miss, and they also will be hosting Texas A&M. So the SEC East could get really, really interesting right here at the end.
Yeah, it sure enough could.
Number 9, Clemson on the road to Virginia. It looked like Clemson got shook off that little funk the first part of their game this past week. I think they're going to be okay against Virginia. I got them big.
Yep.
Number 18, Oklahoma State goes to 15, Texas Tech. Texas Tech looked better than Oklahoma in every phase except where it counts
on the
scoreboard. I'm going to take Texas Tech at home against Oklahoma State. They look really physical. I think Kingsbury's doing a good job there.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a close game, though.
Do you?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I do. Oklahoma State's got a good team.
There's one I don't think is going to be close. 8, Auburn at Arkansas.
No.
No?
No. I think Auburn is a sleeper in the SEC. I really do, in the SEC West. That's going to really make that end of the season, the Iron Bowl. That's going to make that so interesting.
Yeah, sure is. And of course, that's even if Alabama gets by LSU. All right, Colorado goes to number 17, UCLA. Played pretty well with Stanford, UCLA did. I don't think Colorado's got anything for the Bruins. Bruins win big, especially being at home.
Buffalo's going to get buffaloed.
UTEP goes to Texas A&M. No challenge here for the Aggies.
No, sir.
Number 21, Northern Illinois on the road at UMass. Garrett, is this it? Is this we're running out of games, man?
No, I don't think that can't be my upset this week. As much as I'm on the fence about it, no, I'm gonna lean to Northern Illinois will roll in that one.
Okay, Mississippi State at 14, South Carolina. I'm taking the Gamecocks now. A renewed sense of energy, not with just them, but everybody in the SEC East.
I'm on the fence for that one too, because the only reason why I say this is because Carolina's kind of beat up right now. Mississippi State has a chance, but you're right. I mean, I think Carolina just has too much firepower.
Okay, I got you. All right, 23, Michigan at 24, Michigan State. You know what's funny is Michigan State wasn't ranked, of course, coming into this week, and all of a sudden, the week they're supposed to play Michigan, magically they roll into the top 25 somehow.
Yes, sir, and I think that out of all the games this week, I look at that one right there. It's only one spot, but Michigan State gets it done in that one.
Garrett's taking 24 over 23 for his upset.
I got to be conservative, man. I got to be conservative.
I'm going to go the other way. I think Michigan's better. We'll go with them. Iowa at 23, Wisconsin. I think Iowa's going to give Wisconsin everything they want, plus some. Wisconsin, because they're at Camp Randall, get it done.
Get it done.
All right, Arizona State at Washington State. Arizona State can't figure out whether or not they want to be in the top 25. They don't ever get past 20, and they just rotate in and out from 23 to nothing, 23 to out, 23 to out. Washington State's terrible. I'm going to take Arizona State.
Yeah.
All right, when we get back, we're going to let Garrett rant on the targeting rule. This is UnCleated on the Bishop Media Sports Network.